All right, so have any of y'all ever been watching your favorite sport team play, and your team happens to lose the game because of a call referees made? Raise your hands. All right. Now another follow-up question: did y'all boo the referee even if he made the right call, even if he went against your team? Yeah. So that's what I'm here to talk about today: why everyone hates on referees and why they're so valuable. So first, I want to talk about the negatives of referees, or negative perspectives people have on referees. First, they believe referees are unintelligent. This is, however, a very ignorant thought process because people will say, like, are you stupid, ref, or are you blind? These referees spend so much time studying the rule book, so much time in the off season knowing and gaining knowledge on the game that they can't possibly be unintelligent. And they do so much better than we could ever hope to do. The second reason why people don't like referees is they believe that refs are biased. Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, I believe it too. Um, People often forget, though, referees aren't being paid by a certain team. They don't have any emotional ties to any one team. They're being paid by a commissioner or a league, whoever's above them. All they're doing is calling the game based on the rules, based off the rule book that they're given. So all of these negative perspectives people have on referees just really aren't true at the end of the day. All right, now the positives of why referees are so valuable and why we need them in our game. First, they control the chaos. Referees, if there was no referees, it would just be complete anarchy. There would be no integrity. There would be no accountability in any sport. It would all just be complete chaos. There would be fighting. There would just be fouls everywhere. There would be no game to watch. If you wanted to watch anarchy, you would just go watch boxing or UFC, and even then they still have referees. So, my second point, keeping the players safe. Referees, their main goal is to keep players safe. They only want, whether players are intentionally trying to harm another player or it's on accident. Referees will keep players safe. For example, in football, they have a call called targeting. If you have forcible contact to the head or neck area, the ref will throw a flag called targeting and eject that player. Whether that player is trying to do so or not, that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the referee is just trying to keep that player safe, both the person who committed the targeting foul and received it, because they don't want that player to have brain damage, concussions, and they want us to have entertainment to keep the players healthy. The third positive is they help players learn the rules. I know for me personally, whenever I'm playing in a basketball game, if I get called for a blocking foul or a shooting foul, I'm always asking the referee, hey, what did I do wrong? What can I do better? How do I fix this? This communication between referee and player is absolutely crucial to the growth and health of the game. If players and referees did not communicate this way, players could not get better to know how or what they need to do in a game and what's right or wrong inside the game. So they could not get better as players. All right. Now I want to talk about the changes that are happening today. Sorry. There's a major change going on in the world of sports today. So there's a couple things. Artificial intelligence. There's a big push to replace referees with AI. And the main reason is because fans have been totally unhappy with how referees have been making calls lately, and they're making their displeasure known by taking measures on social media, just completely find these referees, they're terrible, get rid of them, to cursing at them, screaming out. Even some referees have gotten death threats in the Premier League over a soccer game. Yeah, who cares about soccer? Sorry, Cal. There are two main examples of these technologies that are used in higher level sports. First is VAR, Video Assistant Referee. Video Assistant Referee is used in the Premier League. Oh, sorry. Let me backtrack. There are two, VAR and ABS. Video Assistant Referee and Automated Ball Striking System. We'll first talk about VAR. VAR is used in the Premier League, which is the highest soccer league almost in the world. And the main goal of this is to help the on-field referee see things that'd be insanely hard to see, like an offsides penalty, or whether a goal, like the ball crossed the goal line in time or not, pretty much. So stuff that'd be really hard to see in real time. ABS, oh, sorry, ABS, the second technology, is to help the home plate umpire call balls or strikes. This is used in the AAA, which is one level below the MLB, and it just helps the referee make these insanely tough calls if it's on the line or whatever the case may be. Now, at a bird's eye glance, one might think, these are really great technologies. Why wouldn't we want these? And let me tell you, they have the inability to make good judgment calls. For example, there was a Liverpool striker, I'm pretty sure it was last year. He was in the 90th minute of the game. They were down 1, and the 90th minute of the game is the last minute of the game, and he ended up scoring a goal to win the game. VAR later reviewed the goal and came to the conclusion that his pinky was offsides. No one's calling that. No referee is ever going to call that. They ended up overturning the goal, and Liverpool lost the game. And the fans absolutely ripped apart VAR, and this just shows no matter what any league tries to do to fix referees, there's no technology that will do it, because us as fans and players, we're unable to be pleased if it goes against our team, no matter if we have an objective power or a subjective power, that's the referee. So there's no point in trying to replace these referees with AI, because that will just lead to more and more problems, because these fans are still booing the referees as well as the VAR, which just leads to more chaos. Now I want to talk about why this topic matters to me. So, first of all, if you know me, you know I love everything about sports, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, soccer, it doesn't matter. I love to be a part of it, love to be around it. I love going to watch their baseball games, I love playing football, The second reason is, over the past 2 years, I have refereed flag football and soccer at the middle school and elementary school level. And you would be surprised to realize how emotional and crazy these parents and coaches are. I'm sure Kyle knows. I have been screamed at, cursed at, had things thrown at me. I've had to kick parents and coaches out of games, and for an 8U football team, they want me to call a false start penalty. I'm like, why am I doing this? And it really has made me understand and feel more empathetic towards the referees who are in the higher levels, because they have to go to they have to deal with that to a much higher extreme with 80,000 people screaming at them, always mad at them no matter what they do. So I really just have found a greater appreciation for them. And third, and my main reason for this, is my grandfather, Joe Long. Joe Long was an ACC football referee, and these are some pictures of him. He was so good at what he did, he has an award named after him for the ACC. This award is not given out every year in the ACC. This award is given to a referee with the highest character and an outstanding performance on the field. He was also asked to become the commissioner of the ACC, which is very unusual for a referee, because this is usually goes to like an athletic director or a coach. But they asked him. He later turned it down because he did not want to move to Greensboro. But these are, like I said, these are some pictures from him and his crew, and that's an article that I took a picture from my grandmother's house, and it basically talks about how these referees, like how these fans, they complain about the same stuff that they're doing today. Like he's quoted in there and says, as you do this, as you referee more, your vision gets better, but your ears get worse because you just tune out all the noise. Because all these fans, they're always screaming at you, no matter if you're making a good call or a bad call. And he was known as one of the best referees in college football, because he refereed national championship games, Cotton Bowl games, all of those, and he was still getting booed just as much. So that's pretty much my main reason why I wanted to do this topic. And conclusion. In conclusion, I've come to realize that referees do not deserve the hate that they get. Whether it's on the youth level or all the way up to NFL, NBA professionals. Oh my gosh, my computer signed me out. What the heck? I got it. It's good. And every negative perspective people have are often not true. Referees are not actually biased. They're not actually getting paid. They're not actually unintelligent. Sure, they may get a call wrong here and there, because no one's perfect. Everyone has their faults. Everyone falls short of the glory of God, no matter who they are. And And if we did not have referees, if we replaced them with AI, if we did all of this stuff to just get rid of them, this would be no different than any backyard game that we'd go play at recess. It's just pointless. And this is why I wanted to talk about referees. Thank you so much.
Yes, do y'all got any comments or questions for Paul?
Very well spoken.
Thank you.
Excellent. You're very good in front of the crowd, which we all know.
Thank you.
But great job. I did not know that about your granddad, so that
Yes, ma'am.
is fascinating. I do have a question though about, so you talked about reffing and getting yelled at and screamed at. So I will never forget Douglas's senior year here out at the baseball field, and Nelson would have been there and Matthew. You guys were freshmen, and I don't remember who we were playing, but the umpire or ref, whatever you call it in baseball, was making horrible calls, and the parents started going out of their minds. Like, I wanted to leave. I was so, I can't take that kind of thing. And they were livid. And then one of the parents, I think, actually got kicked out, like he had to leave.
Yeah.
So how do Christian parents and Christian fans, how should we react when we see our son and our son's teammates or our daughter and daughter's teammates, like, being bad calls,
Yeah.
and then the parents get all involved? Like, I don't know what the answer is, but it was
I think-
very discouraging for me
Yeah.
to see Southside Christian parents, even though I was in here too, the calls were bad, but it was very discouraging for me to see this behavior at our school.
Yeah, I understand. That's a good question. Because I struggle with that too. Because honestly, when I'm on the football field, I'm mad at the referees all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. It doesn't matter if it goes against my team, I'm always upset. But I picked out 2 or 3 verses. One of them, it just signed me on. I
Yeah.
can't quote it. But
Yeah.
these verses just talk about whoever is patient, Proverbs 14:29. Whoever is patient has great understanding, but one who is quick-tempered displays folly. As Christians, as parents, as fans, we need to have mercy, be patient, and be understanding, because he's doing the best he can.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to make one team win or the other. Hopefully, he probably isn't. He's just trying to make the calls because he loves the game. Any high school referee, they're not doing it for the money.
Yeah.
They're doing it because they love to be around baseball, football, basketball. So, as fans, we just need to be conscious about that and just respect them, because they're another human. They're imperfect. If any of us who work, if we got criticized for every little mistake we made in our job and get by hundreds of fans or higher levels, thousands of fans, it'd be pretty tough. And you get really mad and you get really self-conscious about it really fast. So we just got to remember they're people too, and that we, as Christians, we're called to love everybody, no matter if they're going for our team or against our team.
Great answer.
Did you, in your research, were you able to get into the statistics of, like, how accurate are referees?
So in the NBA, and like this, I'm pretty sure it's just mainly NBA that I've found, they're around 90% of the time, like above 90% of the time, they get every call correct. So there are instances, of course, where you see a referee make a bad call and it blows up on social media, or you saw this past college football season where for the Duke and Miami game, that whole crew, like that whole officiating crew, got suspended because they missed 4 calls that were apparently very easy to call. So the statistic is they get the vast majority of calls right. Obviously, no one's perfect, and the amount of, like, you have to see the smallest details, especially like if you see someone's foot's out of bounds, barely making a catch or something. The minute details that are that hard to see, and they get 90% of the calls right. That's very good, and that is so far better than any of us could ever hope to do, unless we went through all the training that they did. Because my grandmother, I called her yesterday just to ask for some last details about my grandfather, who I've never met, but she was like, he studied the rule book every day. He had his own job. This was just what he did for fun. He studied the rule book every single day, off season or not. He was always in the books, and if he wasn't refereeing college football, he was refereeing high school football, high school basketball. He just couldn't get away from sports. He loved every part of it. So they will always do their best to get every call right, and they do so much better than any of us could ever hope to do.
Is there some sports where the refs? Is there a sport where you're like, in this sport, refs tend to be more inaccurate, or?
I would say probably boxing or UFC because it's hard to see whether a point should be taken away or when to break up a fight and stuff like that. Because then they might think, oh, this guy's being biased, or because I was watching this Saturday Ryan Garcia versus Haney fight. The referee kept on pulling away every time Ryan Garcia would get momentum. He would pull them away, and it looked like he was just trying to let Devin Haney win. He really wasn't. He was just trying to protect the players because Devin Haney started turning his back a little bit. You can't do that in boxing. You'll get a point deduction. So that's probably the hardest sport, I would say, that or football, just because the amount of running and the amount of fine lines you have to see in every little penalty that you have to see.
Paul, how much, like, I get what you're saying in terms of, like, usually, like, the name calling, all that stuff. I mean, not that anybody yelling at a ref is really thinking rationally.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, it seems like if there's anybody on that field or that court that knows the most about the sport, it's going to be that ref. Because like you mentioned the training that they go through. Talk to us a little bit more about that. Like, how much specific training does, pick a sport and run with it. Like,
Okay.
It's different. But,
Yeah.
like, how much training does a referee get? How much knowledge does a referee have to have about the rules of the sport?
So, for example, from all the way from youth to professional level, I know Kyle's probably done this with CISA. The amount of training you have to do just to get certified as a ref, the amount of studying you have to take a test, you have to be experienced, you have to do well in these games. The higher up you go, the more training, the more intense it gets. To be an NFL referee, you have to start coaching high school. Then you got to go to college, and then you got to go to NFL. While doing that whole thing, you're studying, you're learning the new rules, you're having league meetings every single night on Zoom or wherever you're at. You're always around the game of football. No matter what you do, you're nonstop learning more and more and more and trying to get better at your craft. Just like a basketball player or a football player. They're basically players, but like in the way they work and train for it, it's just they don't play on the field, they're just refereeing the game.
So this is more of like a offhanded comment type of, and I'm trying to hurry, but as someone who's coached a lot,
Mm-hmm.
I've always tried to keep in mind everything you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about here. I've also seen some really terrible refs. Has yelling at a ref ever actually worked out?
No, no.
Because we do it every game. Like just follow me. Just hear me out, right? Like every single game, ref makes a bad call. Everybody yells at him. Everybody gives a hard time. I've never seen a ref be like, you know what? You're right. I'm gonna call that back. And maybe even talk specifics to this. Like in some leagues, I know that refs aren't allowed to call. Like there's no review process.
Yeah.
Like the call is made, good or
Yeah.
bad, and then you move on.
High school sports.
Yeah.
So, I know for me personally, if I ever yelled at referee, or if I've been yelled at being a referee, that makes me just like not want to listen to that guy at all. It makes me even more want to be like, just stop talking to me, and then honestly, it may want them to be more biased towards you, because obviously being human, we're gonna have emotional ties towards one person or another based on how we're treated by them. If some person's being mean to me all the time, I'm not gonna want to be friends with them. I'm probably not gonna like them. So if there's a 50-50 call, I might swing the other way rather than one. So yelling at a referee honestly will hurt your team more than it will help your team, from fans, coaches, players, all the way down. So there's just no point in it.
All right, cool. One question from the classmates. Anybody got anything? Question?
Class.
All right. So I'll go off of basketball because that's what me and you both play. So there's been games where we have refs and they might be doing all right or they might be doing bad, and then it's kind of like every coach is like, I'm not going to do anything to get kicked out of the game until they make a really bad call, and that really bad call is when like they hurt a player.
Yeah.
So how are we supposed to approach a ref like you're going up for a left and the other player. And this happened before in our
Yeah,
games where
I
another
understand.
player is like just slammed into him, hurt the player, and the ref makes no call. How are we supposed to approach that, and how is a coach supposed to
So
approach that?
you definitely should confront the referee. Like I said, teaching him about the rules. Obviously, he may have missed the call. He may not have. You never know. Just say he, like the guy. I remember Christchurch. It was it Tucker that got almost flipped by DJ Harvey. Was it? I don't remember. But anyway, so Tucker almost got hurt, and he basically face planted after going up for a layup. And Coach Anderson, rightfully so, was absolutely livid about this because like he was all up in the referee's face. You hurt my player. This is bad. And honestly, this could go either way. I would be mad if that was my player, and knowing that I love my players, I would be upset because that's a guy that I've been working with like for this entire season. The guy that I love, I'd be like, "What do you do? Why aren't you calling this foul?" Who knows? Maybe he missed the call. I think you can be respectful and be upset at the same time. I think you can be like, "Hey, make sure you get this next time," but don't obviously get up there screaming, going all wild, like having a temper tantrum out there. Because at the end of the day, Tucker was fine because he got back up, he got back in the game, and he kept on playing. But obviously, the dangers are there, and there are multiple ways to go about it. But I think the best way is to be, you can be upset, but understandable, and just be able to be respectful and have a mutual conversation with the referee.
Any other questions, real quick? Paul's got places to be, so. All right, cool. Let's get one more round.